What's up, guys? Jay, MorninAfterKill, and welcome back to another episode of my Sunday Q&A. This is actually the first Q&A, well, the first video, I should say, of the new MAK era. Last night, we finally let go of the upload streak at 4 years, 10 months. And even though I was a little bit emotional about letting it go, the streak had to end. YouTube 2016 going into 2017 is a much different place these days than when I first started my streak, and it makes no sense to continue to streak if the content's not there and we're just forcing vidges and it's actively hurting my channel instead of helping it grow, which were my original intentions of the streak. So before we get into the actual Q's and the A's, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you guys for all the support over the years and the amazing show of support for my live stream this week. If we continue to grow at the rate that we are on Twitch, full-time gaming is a real possibility for this community. So once again, I want to thank you guys for all the support and all the opportunities that you've given me, past, present, and whatever may come in the foreseeable future. But with that said, this is my Sunday Q&A, a day where we set aside all the tips, tricks, and guides. We just kick off our shoes, toss up our feet, and get to know each other just a little bit better. And how we do that is simple. In the comment section down below, you'll leave a question and also a thumbs up on the video. And then next week, I'll pull a few Q's and give you guys a piece of my A. So how about we get into the first question of the week, coming from Edgar Bastillos, who gets the first video game related question of the new Q&A series, wondering what my biggest pain in the sides in Borderlands are, what are my favorite things, and he also tosses in a little, what do you hope to see in the future? Alright, where do we start here? Because Edgar's question is all over the fucking place. I think the best place to start is, let's talk about the future of the franchise of Borderlands. What do I hope to see from Gearbox? How about Borderlands fucking 3, goddammit? Like, I know that Gearbox has already confirmed that it exists, and they're currently working on it, and even hinted in Battleborn where the game's gonna take us. But I gotta say, if there's one thing I hope to see from Gearbox regarding Borderlands 3 is that they just don't fuck with the formula. Keep the formula of the series intact. I hope the hell that Gearbox hasn't been paying attention to what Bungie is doing with Derp City and decides, oh hey, yeah, that's what we want to do. Let's model our next installment of Borderlands after Destiny. I hope the game is as playable offline as it is online, and we see Gearbox return to the formula that made Borderlands 2 so successful, which is fun, over-the-top guns, crisp, smooth gameplay, sprinkled with hilarious bits of dark humor. And for the love of God, please don't try to inject PvP multiplayer into the Borderlands series, because it's the PvP side of Derp City that keeps ruining PvE for me, since Bungie continuously keeps rebalancing weapon classes based on the PvP meta, which affects how these guns fucking perform in PvP as well. Now, as for what is the biggest pain in the ass in the Borderlands series, immediately you ask shit like that, and my mind flashes back to the horrific memories of me being ass-raped constantly by the rabid stalkers in the wildlife exploitation preserve. And that would be my answer if I haven't recently played through Tiny Tina's DLC on stream the other day, and we had to deal with them goddamn invisible, teleporting sons of a motherfucking cock, the mages. Damn things teleport, and they shoot you, and they teleport again immediately, and it's not a problem until you reach Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, because now, not only do they do everything that I mentioned, but they also regenerate health with every teleport, and their shock balls will not only strip your shields with one hit, but the dot that it lands on you will tick you dead, because in Borderlands, dot ticks count as individual hits themselves, which means that you cannot health gate a dot tick. Your only chance to live through that is to shoot something with a Moxie weapon, but guess what? You can't. Why? Because that fucking mage has already teleported before you can hit his hitbox. So guess what? You dead. You dead as a motherfucker. And that brings us to the next question, which was asked not only by Chaotic Punch, but multiple others, given the subject matter of last week's Q&A. It makes sense, but Chaotic, along with the others, want to know, how do you cope with the loss of people you love? And that's a hard question to answer, honestly, because everyone deals with their emotions in different ways. Some people choose to throw themselves into their work and ignore the outside reality of their lives. Other people see it as a catalyst to set in motion changes in their life that they're not happy with, and some people shut down completely. It all depends on what type of person you are, how well you deal with grief, and how close you were to the person that you've lost. But as with everything in life, the more you do something, the more comfortable you become with it. Practice makes perfect, and you can totally tell at a funeral who's lost a lot of people along the way and who hasn't. Usually those that have lost a lot of people along the way are the ones that you see ushering people around, helping out, and trying to console others while containing their own sadness and remaining strong for those who aren't taking it so well. And that's me. I'm that guy. I've had a lot of personal tragedies in my life, and I've seen a lot of people come, I've seen a lot of people go, and a lot of people who should probably still be here today that died way too young, way before their time. And even though it never gets easier, every time you lose someone in life, it cuts you emotionally. But eventually, those wounds will heal into an emotional scar. And the more life cuts you, the more you heal, the more emotional scar tissue you develop. So eventually, it hurts less and less. And that's when you get someone like me who tells you that they're emotionally dead on the inside. And I really believed up until this year that I was emotionally dead. Until I lost my second mother, and life just, it cut deeper than it's cut in a long ass time, and it cut right through all those layers of emotional scar tissue that I built up, and it hit me hard. But just like when my fiance died, and it became the catalyst in my life that led me to where I am, my second mother's death now is the inspiration that I needed to take the chance to make my dreams of becoming a full-time content creator come true. Because when you see someone that close to you leave, you realize the limited amount of time that you have on this planet, in this reality, and constantly putting things off for another day is foolish when you're not guaranteed the day that you're putting your life off to. So, I can't tell you guys how to deal with the loss of someone close to you, because, like I said, grieving is a personal experience. The only thing I can do is help put it into perspective of how special each and every one of us truly are. Maybe through that appreciation of your life, their life, our lives collectively, you realize that a person's death also signifies their life, because without life, there is no death. So while it may hurt to initially think about someone that you've loved after they died, eventually those thoughts will be overtaken by memories of them that you've shared together, and little by little, bit by bit, piece by piece, the sadness of their death will be replaced with a small, bittersweet smile, a nod, and a glass raised to the sky, thanking them for the memories and celebrating their life. And finally, we have Trix the Wizard, who wants to know, what were the first thoughts when I had my son? Ah, man. The day my son was born. What a fucking day that was. You know, a few weeks back in my Q&As, I talked about one of my favorite days in my life. And I took a little bit of shit from some people who came into my conversation like, clickety clack, Mac, how come you didn't say that your son's birth was your favorite day in your life? And I guess they have a point, right? That would be, quote unquote, the correct answer for a parent to give. But hear me out on this. The day my son was born was literally one of the most hectic fucking days in my entire life. And that's the real answer. You want to talk about stress levels, motherfucker? Yeah, you have no fucking clue until you're a teenager rushing around for 18 fucking hours in the hospital trying to figure out how the hell you got yourself into this and how the hell you're gonna take care of a family when you barely just graduated high school and you haven't held down a job for longer than 8 months in your entire life. When you couple that on top of the fact that it was fucking Memorial Day weekend and the primary care physician that was supposed to be at the hospital for the delivery, nowhere to be found. He's probably out in the Hamptons, chilling with his family, his rich ass fucking house, drinking some mimosas, going golfing on Memorial Day weekend. Fuck that guy. So there I am, a teenager, about to bring a child into this world. Only we can't, because the doctors are off on their vacation, golfing for the weekend, doing whatever the fuck doctors do on vacation, and the woman that's carrying my child isn't dilating enough to push this kid out naturally. She's in a ton of pain, doing hours upon hours of hard labor without an epidural. Why? Oh, that's right. You need a surgeon to administer it because an epidural is a pain-killing shot that goes directly into your fucking spine in the lower back, and the only person that can do it is a doctor. A nurse is not allowed to do it. And then when they finally find a doctor on call to make it to the hospital, the motherfucker's just like walks in, he goes, puts a couple fingers in, checks, he goes, alright, we're gonna go through with a C-section operation because the motherfucker didn't feel like being there. So, excuse me if I can't say that that was my favorite day ever, because it was probably one of the most fucking stressful days of my entire fucking life. But what did I feel when I finally first laid eyes on my son? Relief. Sweet relief. You know, she was fine, the baby was fine, and most of the stress of the day has finally been lifted off my fucking back. I think the second thing I thought when I looked at my son was, well, at least he's not an ugly baby. I'm serious. In the back of every parent's mind during the 9 months that their child is being developed inside the womb, there's always this little nagging thought in the back of your head. You're like, man, what am I gonna do if this baby's ugly? Like, we've all seen ugly babies before, and it's a natural thing for people to worry about. But once he was born and he was just laying there on a table, I asked the doctor, I was like, hey, can I get a pair of those gloves so I can touch him? They're like, that's your baby. Just go ahead, pick him up. You don't need no gloves. And I did. I picked him up and I held him and looked down at him. He looked up to me and I was like, yo, what's going on, little dude? And I carried him over to his mother, who was still laying there on the operating table being stitched up by the surgeons. And I sat at her head and I was like, hey, look at this little fucker here. Looking back, I mean, it was a pretty awesome moment in my life, but one that's probably been a little bit tarnished over the years by not only how stressful that day was, but also how much of a cunt his mother has been since. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. If you can leave a thumbs up on the video, I'd highly appreciate it, because it gives me motivation to make more videos for y'all motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. But don't forget, this is a subscriber-oriented and driven series. Without your cues in the comment section down below, I can't give you a piece of my A, so make sure that you leave your questions and a thumbs up in the comment section down below. Next week, I'll give you guys another piece of that A. My name's Jay, MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see y'all motherfuckers later.